Hey guys, welcome to the show. Hope you're all doing well. I better do the windows up there now because it's going to be probably too noisy. Yes, guys, thanks so much for the love and support by subscribing and liking the videos and what have you. Really appreciate it. If you're new to the show or if you haven't done so yet, please give us a like, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but I really appreciate it. And just a quick update on the $1 a day challenge. I got my sats. Prices, what's the date today? It's Wednesday the 8th of May. Wow. I think Bitcoin's around about 62. Is it roughly around that? Something like that. Again, just rough figures on these one take videos. I got my $1 a day sats, which was 1,946, I think, from memory, something like that. So we've dipped under 2,000 sats for $1. So although I should be pleased really, shouldn't I, because the price is going up, it just means I get less sats. So I'm not going to go into the $1 a day challenge, but if you watch some of my other videos, I'll talk about it a bit more. I want to dive into the crux of the conversation quicker today because I'm conscious that sometimes when you join me on these driving chats and you're joining me as we're chew the fat while I'm driving, it's nice to hang out and have a chat, but sometimes I go off on a tangent and I don't get to my points straight away, and I know we've all got very short attention spans. So let's dive into it. Listen, this is really about, I guess, a couple of things. One is why am I doing a lot of Bitcoin content? So I'm not a Bitcoin maxi by any stretch of the imagination, but I do fundamentally believe in Bitcoin, and I do see it very distinctly from other crypto projects. And I think it's really important to focus on Bitcoin, and it's not to say I'm not going to keep talk about Cardano or any other project, because again I'm a massive fan of Cardano, and I've talked about that before already. I've done a few videos on Cardano, but I'm also a supporter and a fan of other projects and investor in other projects. So I do get it, and the reason I do these videos is almost it's a sort of conversation I'd have with a mate. And I think hopefully I can help, whether it's my mates who are listening or whether it's other people who are listening. It's the whole point of these videos is just to help on more people, help educate more people, help share, for what it's worth, my experiences and my knowledge. So when I hear about, when I have conversations with people, and we all, we talk about crypto, we talk about Bitcoin, and inevitably we also hear about other projects and things like this. And I think it's really important for everybody to be conscious and aware that ultimately Bitcoin is the ultimate money. It stands alone. Other crypto projects have their place, but their technologies, they're solving different problems, and they're two distinct things. And I have quite clear clarity in my mind how I separate the two. I see Cardano, Ethereum, whatever, Solana as technologies, as it's almost like a tech business. What problem are they solving? What's their USP? All those types of things. And Bitcoin is completely different. And I think what's really important, and this is the crux of what I want to get across, is we don't know what technology will be the default technology, whether there will be a default technology, whether one player will be the dominant force, will there be interoperability and it won't matter, whether there'll be all lots of communities and they'll all be co-mingling. It doesn't matter. We just don't know, and inevitably there's always a risk with that. It's certainly very, very true that the more niche and the further down the risk curve you go in terms of projects, in terms of smaller market cap, new projects that are spinning up, that most crypto projects will have their moment, but will then never ever again recapture that moment. In other words, they'll reach an all-time high next year, they'll probably come crashing back down, and then in the next cycle they won't hit that all-time high again, because there's going to be something else that comes along, something else with a better narrative, something else with a new story, something else that's the new thing. We've had DeFi, we've had gaming, we're having AI in crypto. So there's all these narratives that go along. So projects sort of spin up and they die a death and they never make it. And of course there will be some projects that do make it. There's just a few less of them. And ultimately this is the point, is most crypto won't be around in the next decade. Even fewer will be around in the next 2 decades, and even fewer will be around in the next 3 decades. And you get my point. And after time, we see certain technologies or whatever businesses. It's Google, whether it's Facebook, or MySpace. Facebook took over. You've heard the story a million times before. Sometimes the first mover isn't the one that actually is successful and makes it. So first mover advantage doesn't always play out. So we don't know what is the next Amazon, what's the next thing that's going to make it for longevity. And I'll come on to something else in a minute. I'm trying not to go down different sort of rabbit holes of points and conversations. I'm trying to keep on point, and then I'll try and bring back. So I'll have to try and remember this one. So note to self. You don't know what that is yet, but I'll hopefully remember to come back with it. So the point being is, these are all technologies. Ultimately, we may think we know what's going to have longevity, what's going to be around and be a successful project. But the truth is, we don't. And whenever and the further, like I said, you go on the risk curve, the more risk there is, but potentially the higher gains. The difference with Bitcoin is it's not just going to be around here for the next decade, 2 decades. It's a complete new money that's going to be around for at least another 1,000 years. You may think that that's just nuts, that's crazy, but I fundamentally believe that to be true. And that is the big difference, and that is why Bitcoin is so important and so utterly incredible. And that's what you've always got to have at the forefront of your mind as an investor. And that's why I'm doing more of these videos on Bitcoin, because actually it is so fundamental. Money is so fundamental to the way we live. And with the current system, with our broken money, there is a huge problem. There is a huge problem in the world, and Bitcoin fixes it. Going back to the differences, and again I could go on a rant about this, that, and the other, but I won't. Not today. Maybe another day. Okay. One of the big fundamental differences is Bitcoin came out of the gate perfect. And just let that sink in for a moment. It came out of the gate perfect. Obviously, Satoshi, whoever he was, whoever they are, had been working on this for a long time. But it was the perfect money right away. Every other crypto project that you see isn't perfect out of the gate. There's a white paper. This is our roadmap. This is what we're building. We're basically raising capital by selling you tokens and giving you a part of the stake of the ecosystem to help to help do this. I get all that. haven't got a criticism of that. That's not the point. The point is every other project that's come out of the gate hasn't been the final version or the perfect version of itself out of the gate. And yes, I know Bitcoin, there's constant little tweaks and improvements, and you can go down a rabbit hole of that, and that's something, you know, I'm slowly learning about. So please, you know, put some in the comments if you want, share with me, you know, whatever you want to share. But ultimately, every other project is a project that's building and developing and progressing, and you know, we're getting where we want to get. So just let that sink in. And that Bitcoin was perfect right from the get-go. It was perfect money, decentralized, a hard cap of 21 million, scarcity built into the protocol. So it's absolutely incredible. And that was like, bang, there you go. Crack on, world, see what happens. And every other project, you know, it's a tech project that's building and developing and growing, and, you know, have their various narratives and have their different technologies and pros and cons and blah 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 blah. And that's all fine, no problems at all. But I just want you to clearly understand the differences, and that is why Bitcoin is so special. It's the only money. It's the best money that's ever existed. In conjunction with the fact that, bang, out the gate, perfect. It's not like, oh, we're doing this roadmap, we're developing it. So my point is this, and I've said it already, Bitcoin will be here for 1,000 years. Everything else might not be. So just have that clarity of thought. Now, I could go on. We've been, what, 12 minutes? Your attention spans are probably sort of a little bit probably short, or maybe you like, maybe you like long form content. I personally like long form content. I tend not to watch videos. I tend to plug in, as you can see, and listen while I'm doing other things, while I'm driving a car, while I'm washing up the dishes, while, you know, the missus says, yeah, you need to do some hoovering. So I plug in and do some hoovering, keep her happy, of course. And so, you know, hopefully you don't mind the fact that these videos are sort of that way and not that way. And yeah, I guess I get it's not the most aesthetic thing. It's a one-take video, not, you know, cool graphics or nice editing and all the rest of it. So, but hopefully I've been able to share some value, and hopefully that's giving you some clarity in terms of your thinking, and in terms of assessing your sort of appetite for risk, your you know, whether you're a long-term investor or a short-term investor. You know, everybody's different, and that's absolutely fine, and there's a space for you here. Now the challenge, I was going to wrap the video up, wasn't I? But I'm not, because this is important. And I think the challenge for all of us, when we're trying to, you know, make it in this world, when we're sort of hustling and we're trying to, you know, make money, we're trying to, you know, make things work, and, you know, life's tough, cost of living is going up, and, you know, we're all trying to make it. The danger is there's that short-term mindset, and that inevitably leads us to sometimes bad decisions, or just short-term decisions. They might not be bad, but they could be risky. So, and I get it. You know, we all want to make a quick buck, you know, be able to support our family, do things that we want to do. You know, I get all that. But just have clarity with your thought and understand the differences between Bitcoin and everything else. Yes, the other things will outperform Bitcoin. I get that. That's what happens. But like I said, Bitcoin will be here for 1,000 years. Everything else might not be. Some may. A lot. The majority might not be. Indeed, the ones that may be here for 1,000 years may not have even been invented yet. Who knows? And that's the risk you take. But just be very careful with that. And I think with a short-term mindset, or the desperation, if we're desperate for some money, we tend to sometimes make bad decisions. So just be very careful and be very mindful of those decisions. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with risking, money on a low cap coin and hoping it will do 100x, 1000x. I mean, they're those stories that we all dream to make. But just remember, most people don't. And the more risk you take, you've also got to be prepared mentally that you will lose money. Period. 100%. The more risk you take, you will lose money, and that could be a whole numerous, number of things. It could be project rug pulls. It could be actually the project was all hot air and actually were just not really. They didn't deliver. There could be you bought into something, you bought into the narrative, and you didn't sell when you should have sold, and then bang, it's down 99%. Or there could be a whole number of things, and that's that happens. That's happened numerous times. So just be prepared. If you invest in smaller cap coins and other projects, be prepared to lose your money. So as long as you're okay with that, then that's fine. So again, if you're going to play in that space, maybe just think about doing it with smaller amounts. That you're not going to lose your shirt, your house, everything on a very high risk project, and because that's the last thing I'd want to see you guys do. I mean, it's it's horrendous. You hear these stories, and you hear these stories all the time. It's so sad, but it's just unfortunately driven by either greed or just desperation. So just be aware of that. Be conscious of that. No problem if you want to do it. But actually, if you can try and be relatively risk averse, the ultimate risk aversion is not to buy anything else other than Bitcoin. And for you newbies out there, you go, what the hell are you talking about? No risk with Bitcoin? I get if you're new to Bitcoin or you haven't yet invested in Bitcoin, you probably think it's the most volatile, risky asset in the world. And again, I've talked about volatility and actually the benefits of volatility. But I keep going back to it. Bitcoin will be here for 1,000 years. So again, it depends on your strategy. You can literally play the easiest game in the world, which is buy, hold, and never sell, or sell at least 5-10 years. And I mean at least 5. I don't think Bitcoin's ever been at a lower price at any point for somebody who's held Bitcoin for at least 5 years. So historically, obviously you can never say just because it's happened in the past, it's going to happen in the future. But I think you can, if I'm honest with you, Bitcoin. And you know what? If I'm proven wrong, I'm proven wrong. But I have that conviction. So if you've, I don't know, I'm not going to ramble on about actually Bitcoin not being risky, because if you understand it, you'll know what I mean. And maybe that's for another video. I don't want to go off on another tangent, but the point is, guys, just be aware. Be aware of what you do. Be mindful. Question yourself. Say, do I need to be overcomplicating it? Constantly on Telegram, on X, following the project, understand what their latest nuances or what you've got to do, or you've got to do this to get this XYZ, or just constantly being on top of the project to see what's going on. I mean, you can, and that's quite fun, but again, it takes a lot of work. Or do you want to just buy Bitcoin and forget about it, or buy Bitcoin now and then sell it in a year and a half? I believe in the 4-year cycles. Again, we'll see if it carries on, but I think it will. And if they do, that means Bitcoin will come crashing down again. After hitting an all-time high in 2025, 2026 will probably be a painful year. Again, that's me looking into a crystal ball. No one really knows. But again, that's my thesis. And if it comes crashing again, you go, well, you know what? If you bought then, sold at the height, it comes crashing down, you can accumulate more Bitcoin by buying back in. So that could be a strategy. Or it could be a strategy just to buy, hold, and wait 10, 15 years and be amazed at what it does. So it really depends. I think it's important to think about what type of investor you are, what sort of risk you want to take, understanding your risk, understanding the clear differences between the ultimate money and tech, basically tech stocks, effectively. Being smart with, how much you risk. So it's just something I wanted to share with you guys, because I don't think everyone has that clarity of vision, of perspective of the differences, and whenever new people come into the space, and I did it, I talk from first-hand experience. Most of these videos are focused on Bitcoin, but it's not, like I said at the beginning, it's not because I only have Bitcoin. I've got a load of crap from the last cycle. I'm going, why the did I invest in this? But I played that classic first time investor experience of the space, thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to be clever. Oh, I've heard this thing, and oh yeah, this sounds good, and made a load of money, and then didn't sell, and then price comes crashing down, and you go, oh yeah, that wasn't such a clever idea, was it? And of course Bitcoin came down, but Bitcoin will be fine. These other pieces of shit won't be fine. They'll probably be, they'll probably never come back. So I'm sharing my lived experience with you guys to hopefully just be aware. Like, it's not necessarily smart by being clever, if that makes sense. By going, oh yeah, I'm an investor in crypto, and I'm Bitcoin, but oh yeah, have you heard of this, and this, and trying to be, smart about it, or have you heard, I get it, I do get it, and there is a place for it, but just manage the risk. Manage the risk, and be aware if you do play in that field that you will lose money. Period. If you don't, you're a better guy than I am, I tell you. So it's something that hopefully that helps just cement your thinking. That's what it's all about, guys. It's all about learning. It's all about trying to better ourselves and trying to, just try not to screw this up, because it's very easily done. And the last thing I want you guys to do, and I've had a friend who this happened to, by the way, so this isn't just hot air. He got into crypto similar sort of time to me, and this happens all the time. Price went up, yeah, easy. Everyone thinks they're really smart and clever. Price crashed. Still holding his bag. Fine. So was I. And so are many of you guys, but I didn't sell. I didn't lose sight of the vision. I didn't, and unfortunately he did. He didn't have. I guess he didn't have that long-term vision, that conviction. Maybe he invested more than he could afford, and he needed the money, so he had to sell. Again, making the mistake of investing more than you can afford to lose, or not even lose. Just you need access to that capital at some point. So it's a mistake so many investors make, that they basically go through these cycles, feel like they've lost lots of money, and then exit having lost money, and then go, well, that was a load of rubbish, I don't believe in crypto anymore, and never come back. Ultimately they will come back in time, but just remember, until you sell, you haven't lost anything. It's just a nominal figure that goes up and down. You haven't actually sold or gained until you sell. So if you feel price is a little bit down from possibly the high that we've experienced recently, Just have patience, you know. You haven't lost anything until you sell. And you haven't made profit until you sell. So it goes both ways. So that was my little, you know, whatever. My little tuppence worth. I hope it helps. Like I said, you know, I do these videos as though I was chatting to a friend. So, you know, these are the sort of things that I would say to them. Hopefully that was quite clear. Hopefully it made sense. And hopefully it gives you something to think about and just be mindful of. So I'll wrap it up, and I love you and leave you. Thanks so much if you're still here. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, join me on the next one. Don't forget, if you still haven't, give us a like, give us a subscribe. And yeah, really, really appreciate all the support, guys. And good luck out there. It's going to be a fun next 18 months. It really is. Just have patience. It doesn't happen overnight. I'll leave it there. Cheers, guys.